They thought she was alone. They thought she was an easy target. They thought this night would end the same way it always did. With fear, with power, with someone helpless under their control. But they didn't know one thing. One truth that should have stopped them cold. Her husband was the most feared mafia boss on the East Coast. And he was only 6 minutes away. The night was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels wrong. The kind where the air itself holds its breath. Maya Davis pulled into the old gas station at 11:47 p.m. She had driven this route 1,000 times, but tonight felt different. The neon lights flickered half dead. The attendant inside sat frozen in front of a tiny TV, pretending not to see her. Maya stepped out of her car, her curls blowing gently in the cold wind. She wasn't dressed flashy, just a sweatshirt and jeans. She didn't look dangerous. She didn't look powerful. And to men like them, that made her the perfect target. Behind the station, 3 figures emerged, shadows shaped like trouble. Their voices were low, but loud enough for Maya to sense danger crawling closer. "Yo, that's her, alone, easy pickup. Look at the car, bro, she got money. Do it fast, in and out, nobody gonna stop us." Maya glanced at her phone. A text from her husband, Adrian. "Almost home, baby, 6 minutes." She smiled softly, unaware of the storm moving toward her. She swiped her card at the pump. The machine beeped. Then footsteps. Slow. Purposeful. Wrong. Maya closed her eyes for half a second, gathering herself. Her heart didn't race. Her breath didn't shake. But deep inside her chest, something old awakened. A warning. A memory. She had been a mob wife long enough to know when danger was close. The 3 men spread out like wolves circling prey. "You out here alone this late, beautiful," the leader said, stepping too close. Maya didn't answer. "Were you going in a car like that, you married?" another asked, smirking. Maya quietly capped the gas pump. She looked up, meeting the leader's eyes, not with fear, but with something he didn't expect. A calm that shouldn't exist in a moment like this. "Walk away," she said softly. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was final. They laughed. A cruel, stupid sound. "You think we're scared of you? You're in our neighborhood now. We run this place." Maya glanced at her phone again. 4 minutes. "Please," she whispered, "don't do this, not tonight." The leader grabbed her arm. That was the moment everything shifted. In the distance, a black SUV turned the corner. Not fast, but purposeful. Like a predator gliding through the dark. Maya didn't see it, but the gang members did. Headlights. Tinted windows. An engine too smooth to be ordinary. The leader's grip loosened. "Who's that?" he muttered. 3 minutes. The SUV pulled into the lot. The door opened. A man stepped out. Sharp suit. Black coat. No expression. But his eyes, cold, precise, dangerous, told a story no one wanted to hear. Adrian Davis. Mafia boss. Feared by everyone who knew his name. Loved fiercely by the only person who mattered. His wife. He didn't yell. He didn't curse. He didn't run. He simply walked up to Maya, his jaw tight, his voice low. "Baby," he said, touching her shoulder gently, "did they touch you?" Maya shook her head. "I'm okay." Adrian turned to the 3 men like they were already ghosts. "What?" he asked calmly. "Did you just try to do to my wife?" Silence. The kind that suffocates. The men tried to speak, tripping over excuses, lies, excuses again. But Adrian stepped closer, too close, until their bravado shattered like glass. "You had one choice tonight," he whispered. "One, walk away." Then he smiled, a slow, dangerous smile. "And now, I'm going to make sure nobody ever forgets what happens when you choose wrong." The attendant ducked behind the counter. A stray dog fled across the street. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. What happened next would be remembered by every criminal in the city. Not because Adrian raised his voice, he didn't. Not because he touched them, he didn't need to. It was his reputation, his presence, his power. A force that crushed them long before he spoke the final words. "If you ever look at her again, if you ever come near this station again, if you ever breathe wrong in this neighborhood again, I will erase everything you've ever called your life." They believed him, because everyone did. The men ran. Not walked, ran. Vanishing into the dark like rats fleeing fire. Adrian turned back to Maya, the ice in his eyes softening instantly. "You okay?" he asked again. This time his voice trembled slightly. Maya touched his cheek. "I told them to walk away," she whispered. "They didn't listen." Adrian pulled her into his arms, holding her like the world had tried to steal her. "They'll never get that close again," he said. "Not while I'm breathing." Maya smiled, leaning into him. "You're late," she teased. "I got here," Adrian said, kissing her forehead. "Right on time." They got into the SUV together. The engine hummed. The night returned to silence. But the legend of what happened at the old gas station would spread like wildfire by morning. No one would ever target the mafia boss's wife again. And anyone who tried would never live long enough to regret it. The city didn't sleep after the gas station incident. Rumors moved faster than cars on the highway. By sunrise, 3 different gangs had already heard whispers. Adrian Davis is back. For months the streets had been calmer, quieter. Everyone thought the king had stepped away, retired, vanished into the shadows. But kings don't retire. They wait. They watch. They return only when someone threatens the one thing they cannot live without. And last night, someone did. Maya didn't go home right away. She sat in the passenger seat of Adrian's SUV, staring at the road lights streaking past like ghosts. Adrian drove in silence, his fingers tightening on the steering wheel every few minutes, as if imagining breaking the bones of the men who dared touch her. But Maya wasn't scared. Not of the gang. Not of the night. Not even of what her husband might do next. She was worried about one thing only. Adrian was slipping back into the darkness he had tried to leave behind. She knew it from the way he breathed, slow, controlled, the way he used to breathe before a war. From the coldness he carried, not toward her, never toward her, but toward everything else. "Baby," she said softly, placing her hand on his thigh, "look at me." He didn't. She tried again, "Adrian." His jaw clenched, hard. Finally, he glanced at her for half a second. It was enough. "You're angry," she whispered. "I'm not angry," he said. "I'm calculating." That was worse. Those men could have. "They didn't," Maya cut in. "They could have," he repeated, eyes burning into the road. He wasn't talking about fear. He was talking about failure. About the mistake he blamed himself for, the mistake of not being by her side. Maya leaned back in her seat. "You can't protect me from everything," she murmured. "I can," he said quietly, "and I will." When they reached their mansion, hidden behind iron gates, tall walls, and midnight-colored security cameras, Maya noticed something she hadn't seen in a long time. Every light was on. Every guard was awake. Every shadow moved with purpose. Adrian's world had come alive again. The moment they parked, 3 of his lieutenants stepped forward. Big men. Silent men. The kind of men whose existence made criminals reconsider their choices. "Boss," the first one said, bowing his head, "we heard what happened." Adrian didn't answer. His silence was enough for all of them to stiffen like statues. Maya stepped out quietly, but the men didn't dare look at her until Adrian nodded once, a silent command. "She is the queen, show respect." As she walked inside, she overheard the hushed voices behind her. "Should we track the gang, sir? Want us to bring them in alive? Or just send a message?" Adrian's reply was a cold whisper. "No bodies, not yet. I want information first. Someone told them to target her." Maya froze mid-step. This wasn't random. Someone planned it. Someone wanted her. She turned back toward Adrian, but he was already surrounded by shadows, men, orders, war. She sensed the danger before she heard it. This wasn't over. This was the beginning. Inside the mansion, Maya walked toward the balcony overlooking the city. The wind brushed her face gently, but her heart was heavy. She loved Adrian. Not for his power. Not for his fearsome reputation. Not for his wealth, his empire, his soldiers. She loved him because underneath all of that, he was a man who worshipped her, who would burn the world for her. And she feared he was about to. As she stared into the city lights, she remembered the early days, the nights when Adrian would sit on this same balcony, whispering promises with his head in her lap. "I'll leave this life one day, for you. For us." He kept that promise, until last night forced him to break it. A soft voice came from behind her. "Maya." It was Evelyn, the housekeeper, an older woman who had known Adrian since he was a teenage criminal with too much rage and too little guidance. "You look troubled," Evelyn said gently. Maya tried to smile, just thinking. Evelyn stepped closer, lowering her voice. "He won't let this go, you know that." "I know," Maya whispered. "And I'm afraid. Afraid for him. For everyone." Meanwhile, outside the mansion, Adrian wasn't packing. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't threatening. He was planning. A giant digital map of the city lit up the war room. Red dots blinked. Blue ones moved. Yellow areas glowed like danger zones. The lieutenant pointed at a cluster of red dots near the gas station. "Small-time crew, usually harmless, but they don't operate without orders." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "So who gave the order?" The lieutenant swallowed. "That's the problem. We think it's someone bigger, someone who knows you, someone who knows her." Adrian's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "Find them." "Boss," the lieutenant said carefully, "if we dig too fast, we might start a war." Adrian stepped forward, eyes dark as midnight. "They threatened my wife," he said. "War has already begun." Back on the balcony, Maya's phone vibrated. Unknown number. Blocked caller ID. She frowned. She should have ignored it. But she didn't. She answered. A man's voice, calm, confident, cruel, filtered through the speaker. "Mrs. Davis," the stranger said, "I hope last night didn't scare you too much." Maya froze. Her blood ran cold. She didn't recognize the voice. But the threat was unmistakable. "You're brave," the man continued softly. "Braver than I expected. But you are still a weakness. And weaknesses can be used." Maya swallowed hard. "Who are you?" she whispered. The man chuckled. "Tell Adrian," he said, "that the past he buried is coming back." The line went dead. Maya stood there, gripping the phone, her breath shaking for the first time that night. Someone wasn't after her. Someone was after him. Someone who knew Adrian well enough to touch his greatest vulnerability. Her. And somewhere in the city, In a dark room lit only by a crimson lamp, a figure stared at a wall covered in photographs of Maya and Adrian. He touched one picture gently. Maya at the grocery store, smiling. Maya walking the dog. Maya at the gas station. "You took everything from me, Adrian," the man murmured. "Now I'll take everything from you." He smiled, slow and venomous. "Starting with her,"